Hey everyone, I'm Andrew with the Azevedo team, Keller Williams here in the Portland, Vancouver Metro, and I'm joined by my friend here, Connor Webb with Envoy Mortgage. And here's what we're doing. We're actually gonna take a snapshot and just ask some questions and talk about maybe you're in your 20s and you're really worried about, really concerned about mortgage rates right now, the cost of homes, the availability of homes. And I know for me, Connor, as a father of 5, I've got 4 in their 20s, even in my own home. And this topic comes up all the time. Like, how do I figure out how to buy in this market? I'm new in my career or I'm just out of college. And so we wanted to present some really helpful tools that might help you know how to do that, some things that might prepare you and set you up for success with regards to home ownership. So Connor, maybe you can introduce yourself and talk a little bit about that, and I can ask you some questions.
Yeah, so I help with the money side of things. I help you get pre-approved, figure out what you can purchase with your buying power based on your monthly payment range that you want to stay within, what sales price range to get shopping in, and then Andrew's the one to go out and find the property for you, to negotiate with the seller and to take care of that side. So us combined are your one-stop shop to basically get into your first property. And so if you're a recent college graduate, it's little known that, or people might not know, that you can qualify directly out of college. If you graduate from a university, we just look at your not your tax transcripts, your school transcripts as your employment history. So in general, we have to verify 2 years of work history to calculate what your usable income is. But if you just recently graduated from college, we can use your college transcripts. That counts as your employment history, and then we can use your current job's income right away, and we just have to calculate that.
Perfect. That sounds super helpful. So let's dive right into the questions here. Okay, question number 1. Everyone feels like home prices and values and rates are crazy. So be honest with us right now. What actually matters right now? Interest rates or being financially ready?
Well, so you're never going to be 100% ready, like we were talking. You're never going to be 100% comfortable with your situation or 100% ready to buy. This realistically is the new norm. Values are obviously high. They're the highest they've ever been. That's just what things are. Inflation is a thing, so values keep going up. And mortgage rates over the long term, the average is 7 or 8%. Right now, they're lower than that, which is a good thing.
Right.
We'll see if they trend downward over the next couple of years, but I always say just get into a property if you're able to qualify, start building equity, stop paying your landlord's mortgage for them, and you'll thank yourself in the long term.
Got it. So it sounds like because rates fluctuate, being financially ready and prepared is probably the most important.
Absolutely. You'll never be able to time the market correctly, so just get financially ready for sure.
Got it. Okay, question number 2. If you're in your 20s and you're thinking, I'm nowhere near ready, what are 3 things you'd tell them to start doing this year to get ready?
I would say start working on your credit. Myself,
Right.
I was advised from my parents, which is smart, to, not ever have a credit card, because you don't want to get into a situation to where you can't afford your monthly payment on a credit card or be strapped down with debt, which I understand. But at the same time, you have to start building your credit. Mm-hmm. That's one of the biggest factors in determining your credit score and your qualifying overall. So you could open up a secured credit card, which is where you essentially deposit, let's say $100 with an institution. They open up a secured credit card for $100. That's your limit. And then you go and just put your regular everyday expenses onto that card. Over time, you make those payments that'll continue to build your credit. So that's a way to do it without strapping yourself down with debt that you can't afford.
Got it. So a secure credit card, that helps protect some of us more loose with our using credit card swiping machines.
So you don't have a $5,000
you don't overspend,
limit.
And then you'll never buy a house.
Exactly.
Okay, so one thing is building credit through a credit card.
Yep.
What would be 2 other things?
The next would be obviously saving for a down payment.
Okay.
It's a misconception that you need a 20% down payment. In reality, you need around 3% down for a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
If you have solid credit, you're going with a conventional loan.
No, I'm bad at math, so let's break that down. So a $500,000 house, which is pretty common here, definitely in the Clark County, Portland Metro. So a $500,000 house, you're saying you'd only need $15,000 down.
Correct. Yep.
Wow.
And
okay.
then there's going to be various closing costs and prepaid property taxes, insurance, and interest. But as you know, you can negotiate, and maybe the seller can cover the closing costs and prepaids for you. So the only thing that the buyer would have to bring in would be the down payment out of pocket, which would be the $15,000.
Yeah.
So just start saving some money for the down payment.
Got it. So building credit card, that sort of thing, saving up for down payment would be a third thing that people can do to prepare.
Yep. And then the third thing I would say is just get pre-approved. Just see where you currently are at.
Call Connor.
Yeah, exactly. No, Yeah, because with a pre-approval, we take an application. It's just asking for your basic 2-year history with your employment, with where you've been living, your income. And then we pull your credit, see exactly where that's at, take a look at all of your minimum monthly debt payments, compare it to what your qualifying income is. And then that way you're able to see exactly where you're at today instead of guessing and hoping that you're planning for the right thing a year from now.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, next question. How much money do you actually need to buy your first home? Because most people think you need way more money than you really do. So,
Right.
I mean, we're thinking you're buying a $500,000, well, I guess maybe first time home buyer, maybe they're, let's say $450,000, they're $450,000 home. They might think they're in $100,000, $150,000, they need all this money. What's realistic?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, 3% down, in that situation, 450, that'd be like $13,500 for the total down payment.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, I did. As you were talking, I was doing
Math
math.
guy, I'll help you relationally, he'll help you with the numbers.
And then, like I mentioned, closing costs and prepaids, I typically say ballpark $10,000.
Okay.
It obviously depends on the price point and the property.
Well, let's just pause right there.
Yeah.
So you said prepaids or down. So we got down payment. So we got two dynamics. We got down payment and we got closing costs. Tell me the difference between those two and what we can do in this market right now with closing costs that might help some of these buyers.
Yeah, so the down payment is basically just the minimum skin in the game that the lender is requiring you come in with compared to the sales price of a property to meet the conventional loan terms.
Yep.
So that's just the 3% down. The closing costs, there's going to be various pieces. There's some lender fees, processing and underwriting fees. There's going to be an appraisal that you'll get done on the property. There's going to be some escrow and title fees, which are associated. And then you're going to get a home inspection done, as you know.
Yeah.
And then on top of the closing costs, there's prepaid property taxes, insurance, and interest that will be due depending on which day you close in the month and which month you end up closing in to build your escrow account up.
Yep.
So the seller can cover all of the closing costs and the prepaids for you.
How does the seller do that?
So that's where you come into play.
Okay.
Let me ask you that question. How do they do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we can do in a certainly in a market like this where there's definitely some leverage for buyers is we can write you an offer. Let's say you're bringing that 3% down. And that's where you're at. And so in our offer, we write your 3% down payment, but then we also negotiate into the contract that there's seller concessions. And that is we're saying, hey, we're asking that the seller contributes an additional 3%, which is the seller's money that's going to be your money at closing that's going to help you pay down those fees. Mm-hmm. And then you as a lender, you can use residual like overages of that income to help buy down the interest rate. So maybe you're at a 6.3, then you can use that funds and you can get us to somewhere lower.
Yeah.
Maybe sub 6.
And so can you walk us through so let's say someone's listing their house for $500,000 and we're like, hey, maybe we could do $10,000 of a seller credit, or, how would you negotiate that? And maybe walking through going 510 versus keeping it at 500 with the 10,000 seller credit.
Yeah, so no, that's a great question. We kind of get it a little bit into the weeds, but we can go this route. So let's say the house is 500,000 and we want that $10,000 credit to help you as a buyer to buy that home. We can certainly offer full list price at 500,000 and ask for that $10,000. Sometimes if the house hasn't been on the market very long, some sellers aren't really willing to negotiate just giving away $10,000 that fast. Yeah. So one thing you can do is you can take a swing by, let's say we offer 510,000. So you're offering a higher amount than the list price to kind of build into some of those costs. The only challenge you run into there is we want to make sure that house is probably going to appraise for that value so we don't run into any hiccups later. But that's my job as an agent. I want to do some pre-work before we write that offer and make sure I look at some comparables in the area, that a 510 purchase price actually makes sense both for you as a buyer and makes sense for the market and the value of that home. And if it does, then we know that we probably have a good chance going forward that's going to work. Awesome. And that helps both the buyer get their lower rate and also helps the seller stay at the net profit that they want on the home.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Cool.
No, that's perfect.
All right, next question. That was really good. What's one mistake you see young buyers make that delays them from buying?
That delays them from buying?
Yeah.
Well, first
buying
off,
Lamborghinis and
yeah. I haven't seen a 20-year-old with a Lamborghini
no, I haven't
yet.
either, no.
But
some fresh drips, though. I mean,
Yeah. No, I mean, don't rack up the credit card debt. I guess that's the one thing.
Yeah, great, absolutely.
That does add up. Yep. And if you can't afford it, then you can put yourself in a pretty bad situation.
Yep.
But yeah, I would say one is just waiting in general. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wait until the market crashes, or I'm going to wait until interest rates decline. Well, like we mentioned, you're never going to be able to time the market completely correctly.
How does waiting hurt a buyer?
You lose out on equity. You're continuing to pay rent. You're paying your landlord's mortgage off for them versus, so like, let's say you decided to rent another year. Let's say you're paying $2,000 a month in rent.
Yep.
You're throwing away $24,000 over the next year in rent payments that your landlord is applying towards their mortgage. That's money that you could have been building with equity in your property if you owned. Of course, not all of your money goes towards buying down the principal. There's the interest payments as well, but some equity is better than no equity.
Yeah. And are there any tax benefits then to owning a home?
There are various tax benefits. I would recommend to consult with a CPA or a tax advisor for that.
Safe answer.
Yeah, I'm not able to advise on that stuff, but yeah, there certainly are benefits to homeownership that are outside of just building equity.
Yeah, that's super good. Okay. If someone is under 30 and isn't ready to buy today, what does getting prepped over the next 6 to 12 months? I know we talked about this a little bit already, but over the next 6 to 12 months, what does getting prepped look like realistically for them?
It depends on everyone's situation, which is a blanket answer, but I would say just get pre-approved today so that you know exactly where with your situation, if you need to pay off some debt, if you need to work on maybe getting a raise at your job to get to a higher price point, or if you need to look at adding a cosigner to add in their income to help you qualify, or if you can reach out to a family member to get gift funds for a down payment. Like once we officially get you pre-approved, I can offer so many different solutions versus, buy in the next year, that'd be great. Just keep paying down debt and building up your credit. But if there's stuff that you're doing that isn't correct right now, that I could help reshift your focus on what to plan for, then that'd be awesome.
So if I'm 25 years old, graduated from college, I'm almost 2 years into a career path at local firm XYZ, whatever, and I'm wanting to purchase a home. I can call you. I can get pre-approved. You can help me start steering the ship and get ready and get prepared through some of these steps.
Exactly. If you complete an application, that takes 30 minutes. We just request various documentation from you to verify your income, some assets, those types of things. I could have you pre-approved within a day if you're really getting after it and give you some good advice.
Perfect. Okay, bonus question.
Yeah.
What's something you wish every 25-year-old knew about buying a home that no one tells them?
That no one tells them. It's easier than you think.
Okay, yeah.
I would say that because
fair.
All of the headlines are that it's tough to buy a home or that interest rates are high or that values are high, but realistically, if you graduate with a college degree, if you're making good money out of college, it might be much easier than you think. And there's a lot of people that I work on getting pre-approved with, and they have been trying to save 20% down, and they still think that home ownership isn't possible. But it's like they didn't even know that you could come in with 3% down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's really, really good. So I hope this has been really helpful to you. Connor's been helpful to me. I've even learned some things. I know I've been in real estate for a while, but it's always good. There's a reason you run in your lane and I run in mine.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said before at the opening of this talk, I've got this age group in my own home, and we talk quite a bit about what this looks like, and it can be really scary. It can be daunting. It could feel like it's way off in the future. But based off what I've heard you say today, it doesn't have to be that scary. There are definitely specific steps you can take, and it really falls down to values. Do I want to value kind of staying in the season I'm in and just simply enjoying the seasons that I'm in, or is there a way to think long term about my future equity and ownership, net value, that sort of thing as a person?
If you have any questions on any of the topics that we covered today, feel free to leave a comment down below. You can send us a DM directly, and we'll also pop up our contact information right here.
Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching.